Yep. Yep. Constitution of Tibet, 1963. Constitution of Tibet. Promulgated by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, March 10th, 1963. Forward. Even prior to my departure from Tibet in March 1959, I had come to the conclusion that in the changing circumstances of the modern world, the system of governance in Tibet must be modified and amended as to allow the elected representatives of the people to play a more effective role in guiding and shaping the social and economic policies of the state. I also firmly believed that this could only be done through democratic institutions based on social and economic justice. Unfortunately, for me and my people, all our efforts were frustrated by the Chinese authorities, who had established in Tibet the worst form of colonial regime. Soon after my arrival in India, I decided that a draft constitution should be prepared so as to give the people of Tibet a new hope and a new concept of how Tibet should be governed and reigned, her freedom and independence. For this purpose, as outlined of the principles of the Constitution announced by me on the 10th of October 1961. This was warmly welcomed by all Tibetans in India and abroad, particularly by the elected representatives of the Tibetans now lived in exile. Thereafter, on the basis of these principles, and in conclusion with popular and basis on these principles and in consultation with popular representatives, both lay and religious, this constitution has been prepared in detail. This takes in consideration the doctrines enunciated by Lord Buddha, the spiritual and temporal heritage of Tibet, and the ideas and ideals of the modern world. It is thus intended to be sure for the people of Tibet a system of democracy based on justice and equality, and ensure the cultural, religious, and economic advancement. It is my earnest hope that as soon as Tibet becomes once more free and independent, the system of government as laid down in this constitution will be established for the benefit of my people. Thereafter, a final shape will be given to the constitution in accordance with the wishes and aspirations of the National Assembly. This constitution was proclaimed by me on the 4th anniversary of the uprising of the people of Tibet against the Chinese aggressors. On that day, which marks the glory and courage of my people, I expanded to all the situations which confronted us. Now I appeal once again to my people and in and outside Tibet that each one of us must bear responsibly for regaining the freedom of our beloved country. By united and earnest endeavors, we must all remember the teaching of Lord Buddha, the truth and justice will prevail in the end. The Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama Swarashram, Upper Dharamsala, Punjab, India. Constitution of Tibet. Whereas it has become increasingly evident that the system of government which has hitherto prevailed in Tibet has not has not proved sufficiently responsive to present needs and future development of the people. And whereas it is deemed desirable and necessary that the principle in justice, equality, and democracy laid down by the Lord Buddha should be enforced and strengthened in the government of Tibet. And whereas it is deemed essential that the people of Tibet should have a more effective voice in shaping their destiny. Now, therefore, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has been pleased to ordain, and it is hereby ordained as follows. Chapter 1. Preliminary. Commencement. This constitution shall come into force on the day appointed in this behalf by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Nature of Tibetan policy. Article 2. Tibet shall be a unitary democratic state founded upon the principles laid down by the Lord Buddha, and no change in the present constitution shall be made except in accordance with the provisions hereinafter specified. Principles and Government. Article 3. It shall be the duty of the government of Tibet to adhere strictly to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and to promote the moral and material welfare of the people of Tibet. Constitutional invalidity. Article 4. Any law, ordinance, or regulation, or any administrative order which is repugnant to any provision of this Constitution shall be null and void to the extent of the repugnancy. The Supreme Court shall be specified and empowered to decide whether laws, ordinance, regulations, or administrative orders violate the terms of this Constitution. Recognition of international law. Article 5. All laws, ordinances, and regulations enforced within the territories of the state shall conform to the generally recognized principles of international law, and the legal status of aliens shall be regulated by the laws in conformity with the international rules and treaties. Renunciation of war. Article 6. In accordance with its traditions, Tibet renounces war as an instrument of offensive policy, and forces shall not be used against the liberty of other people and as mean as resolving international controversies, and will hereby adhere to the principles of the Charter of the United Nations. Some citizenship. Article 7. The National Assembly shall make such provisions as may be necessary with respect to the acquisition or loss of Tibetan nationality and such other matters relating to it. Fundamental rights and duties. Equality before the law. Article 8. All Tibetans shall be equal before the law, and the enjoyment of the rights and freedoms set forth in the chapter shall be secured without discrimination on any ground such as sex, race, language, religion, social origin, property, birth, and other status. Right to life, liberty, and property. Article 9. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Right to life. Article 10. Every person shall have the right to life, provided that deprivation of life shall not be deemed to contravene this article when it results from the use of force, which is no more than absolute necessary, (a), in defense of any person from unlawful violence, (b), in order to effect a lawful arrest or to prevent the escape of a person lawfully determined, or (c), an action lawfully taken for the purpose of quelling a right or insurrection. Rights to liberty, Article 11. No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed, as soon as may be, of the grounds for such arrest, nor shall be denied the right to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice, to have adequate time and facilities for the preparation of his defense. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest court having jurisdiction within a period of 24 hours, such as arrest, including the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to the court of the magistrate. No such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of a magistrate. Every person who has been arrested or detained in contravention of this provision of this article shall have an enforceable right to compensation. Safeguards and judicial proceedings. Article 12. 1. Every person shall be entitled to be a fair and public speaking within a reasonable time by an independent and impartial tributary established by law. Judgment shall be pronounced publicly by the press, and public may be excluded from all or part of the trial in the interest of public morality, public order, or national security, where the interest of juveniles or the protection of the private life of the parties so require, or to extent strictly necessary to the opinion of the court in social circumstances where publicity, where prejudice, the interests of justice. 2. Every person charged with a criminal offense shall be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to law. 3. Every person charged with a criminal offense shall have the free assistance of a legal practitioner, where the interests of justice so require, if he has no sufficient means to pay, and B, an interpreter if he cannot understand or speak the language used in court. Protection and respect of conviction for offensive. Article 13. No person shall be convicted of any offense except for violence of a law in force at the time commission of the act charged as an offense, nor be subjected to a penalty greater that with greater that than that be subject than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force at the time of the commission of the offense. 2. No person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same offense more than once. 3. No person accused of any offense shall be compelled to be a witness against himself.